Hello everyone, I, Ms. Bhavana Danesh Munod, welcome you all in Agricultural Development Trust, Shardabai Pawar, Mahila Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sharda Nagar, Baramati. Good day dear students. Last period we studied about individual supply schedule and market supply schedule, and where we have seen in both the schedules that supply is directly related with price and quantity supplied. Now what are the determinants of supply? We'll see. What are the factors that will affect supply? One by one we'll see each and every determinant of supply, children. That is first one, price of commodity. Now price is an important factor. See, for demand also price was an important factor. Here also for supply, price is an important factor influencing the supply of a commodity. That means more quantities are supplied at a higher price and less quantities are supplied at a lower price. Thus, there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, that is price of a commodity. So price is an important factor influencing the supply of commodity. More quantities are supplied at a higher price and less quantities are supplied at a lower price. Thus, there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Now, the second one is determinant of supply, state of technology. Now, technological improvements reduce the cost of production, which lead to an increase in production and supply. So, state of technology is what? Technological improvements have reduced the cost of production, which leads to an increase in production and supply. So, technology also has a more impact on supply, children. Due to technological improvements of say advanced technology, if we use in production process, it reduces the cost of production. And then when cost is reduced of production, there is an increase in production and supply. Cost is reduced. Now say suppose children, for example, simple example. Now say I am having a factory of furnitures. Say I have to prepare dining tables. Say I prepare dining tables. Now technology is what? Now first I used to use olden methods. I used to have carpenters. But now what I have in my factory, that is machinery. Now that machinery is doing 10 persons work in my factory. So what happened? Cost has been reduced. I don't have to appoint 10 workers. Their salaries I don't have to pay. So that cost has reduced, and when that cost of production is reduced, children, in technology, it increases over here for production and supply. That means whatever production will be there due to advanced technology, it will be more. So there will be more production of dining tables with the help of machinery. That is technology. So increase. And more I produce, more I will supply. That is the rule of supply. Then the third thing is, children, cost of production. Now see, if the factor price increases, the cost of production also increases. So as a result, supply, what happens? It decreases. So if the factor price increases, cost of production also increases, and as a result, supply decreases. So factor price means what? Other factors consider. Raw materials, say any natural calamity has occurred, there is sudden increase in government rule, taxation has been introduced. So these are other factors. If this other factor price increases, children, it will have effect on cost of production, and which will reduce supply. See, other factors will be natural calamities also, or sometimes say hike in petroleum products, transportation cost, taxes have been increased. So when these other factors increases, the cost of production also increases, and as a result supply decreases. Then the fourth one is what, children, regarding fourth determinant of supply is infrastructure facility. Now infrastructure facility we all know. Changes in infrastructure, changes in building. So infrastructure in the form of transport, communication, power, etc. influences the production process as well as supply. So shortage of these facilities decreases the supply and vice versa. So infrastructural facilities work, it is in the form of transport, communication, power, etc. It influences the production process as well as supply. So shortage of these facilities decreases the supply and vice versa. Then the fifth one is government policy. Now government policy always changes. It will be dependent on favorable or unfavorable factors. So favorable government policies may encourage supply and unfavorable government policies may discourage supply. So government policies like taxation say, subsidies say, industrial policies etc. may encourage supply or they can discourage supply. So as I told you, even in technology same thing is there, and even in government policies say taxation policies increases or decreases children. So it will have effect on supply. So government policies have increased, tax increase, transportation cost increases. It will have effect on industries, producers. Producers have to increase their product price then. And if it is less, producers has to reduce the cost of the production. So this have an effect on supply depending upon government policy. So it may encourage or discourage children production and supply depending upon the government. Now the next determinant of supply is natural condition. Now natural condition means what? The supply of agricultural products depends on natural conditions. So for example, say if we have a good monsoon favorable climatic condition, it will produce good harvest. So the supply of agricultural produce will increase and unfavorable climatic conditions will lead to decrease in supply. So it depends upon natural condition. Good monsoon, good favorable climate, sea will have good harvest. Now simple way for agricultural production, farmers require what children? Rain. So when in a particular year proper monsoon is there, proper rainfall is there, the production of food grains will be more. And if the vegetables, food grains are more children, they will send to the market, the supply will be more. The price of the product will also be less. Why? Because stock of vegetables are more. Now for example, see children, coriander leaves. Now if you see that coriander leaves in summer season, each bundle of that coriander leaves say for 15 or more than 20-30 rupees, or sometimes it becomes rupees 50 also one coriander leaves branch. And in summer season that thing happens. Why? Because there is less water, less rainfall. And as compared to monsoon season, that coriander leaves we will get for 10 rupees. One bunch. Sometimes we get for rupees 10, 2 bunches. Why? Because of monsoon effect, because of natural conditions. If water is more, production of agricultural food grains will be more. So favorable monsoon climate condition will produce, they have told, a good harvest, and the supply of agricultural products will increase, and unfavorable climatic conditions will lead to decrease in supply. Now the seventh one, children, over here regarding determinants of supply is future expectations about price. Now see, when we expect that in future the prices will change, children, then there will be a hold on supply. Sale means if the prices are expected to rise in near future, the producer may withhold the stock, and this will reduce the supply, and vice versa things. Vice versa means change, opposite of that. So what they have told, now see, simple example. If I know in future, say suppose that compass box prices, say any compass box will change, it will be high. So what the shopkeepers will do, children? They will keep that particular compass box as a stock, and they will show in the market that the stock has been over, because they know that the future the demand will be no more of that compass box. So in future if the demand is more, price will be more and supply will be more. So expecting that in future the price changes, it will be high, people stop selling things, children, and they keep as a stock. So this also is one determinant, like future expectations about price. Now other factors are what? Includes nature of market, relative prices of other goods, export and import, industrial relations, availability of factors of production, etc. So these factors are also there, children. Nature of market, relative prices of other goods, export and import, industrial relations, availability of factors of production, etc. So these factors are favorable, and supply of commodity will be more and vice versa. That means opposite of that. Now suppose sometimes the factors are favorable, so supply will be more. But in case of unfavorable factors, in case if any natural calamities is there, prices are less, people think that in future the prices will be more, they stop releasing the stock. Children, I am repeating again, they stop, they make a full stop, pause to release the stock. Means what? They will not send in market whatever commodity people are demanding. Why? Because they want that particular commodity price to rise. People should have more demand in the market, and when more demand is there, prices also increase, supply also increases. So these are the factors regarding to which the determinants of supply is there, children. We will see again. See, the first one was price, then the second one was state of technology, the third one was cost of production, the fourth one was infrastructural facility, fifth one government policy, sixth one natural condition, seventh one future expectations about price, and the last one was other factors. So these all factors were determinants of supply, children. This all factors were affecting determinants of supply. Now last period, children, in the last chapter we studied about law of demand. Now carefully listen what is law of supply. And we studied also that demand is inversely related with price and quantity demanded. Law of demand statement is that higher the price, low will be the demand, and lower the price, higher will be the demand. Now we come to our next point in this chapter, children, that is law of supply. So law of supply is also a fundamental principle of economic theory like law of demand. So it was introduced by Professor Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economics, which was published in the year 1890. This law explains the functional relationship between price and quantity supplied. So what is law of supply? It is also a fundamental principle of economic theory like law of demand, introduced by Professor Alfred Marshall in his book Principle of Economics. Then it was published in the year 1890, and the law explains the functional relationship between price and quantity supplied. Now we will come to know the statement of law. Now the statement of law is, other things being constant, higher the price of a commodity, more is the quantity supplied, and lower the price of the commodity, less is the quantity supplied. So in simple words, other factors remaining constant, a rise in price results in a rise in quantity supplied, and vice versa, opposite of that. So thus there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. So symbolically, supply is represented as Sx is equal to Fpx. That is, supply is functionally related with price. Sx is equal to supply. X is commodity, F is function. So other things being constant, higher the price of a commodity, more is the quantity supplied, and lower the price of commodity, less is the quantity supplied. So in simple words, other factors remaining constant, a rise in price will, children, result in rise of the quantity supplied, and vice versa. So there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, and symbolically the supply is represented as Sx is equal to Fpx, where X stands for commodity, children, S stands for supply, and P stands for price. So we have started with law of supply. First you will write, children, introduction. Then after introduction you will write definition. After definition will come your statement of law with symbolical representation, children, and after that you will have table, explanation of that table, and then we'll go for assumptions and exceptions. Now we have to explain this, that how you tell that what supply is directly related with price and quantity demanded, children. So see a supply schedule. To draw a graph, what they have done, price of commodity X is mentioned in rupees, price of supply of commodity mentioned in kgs. So for 10 rupees 100 has been supplied, for 20 rupees 200 has been supplied, for 30 rupees 300 has been supplied, for 40 rupees 400 has been supplied, and for 50 rupees 500 has been supplied. So this is price of commodity, supply of commodity X. So table 4.3 explains us that there is a direct relationship between price and quantity of commodity supplied. That is, when price rise from 10 rupees to 20 to 30 to 40 and 50, the supply also rises from 100 to 200, 300, 400 and 500 units respectively. It means when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. Thus, there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. So, which is shown in the following figure. Now, we will see the diagram. First, we have seen the table, children, that what they have shown. Table has been drawn, two columns have been drawn, price is mentioned, supply of commodities X in kgs is mentioned, then 10 to 50 rupees price is there, supply is from 100 to 500 kgs. Now we will see how the graph has been plotted, and we have to do explanation of graph. So see, on x axis, if you can see, children, according to the table, we will plot the points now. On x axis, children, what we have done, we will plot according to this x axis. We have done quantity supplied in kgs. Y axis, we have mentioned price 10, 20, 30, 40. Quantity 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 is there. Now x represents quantity supplied, y represents, x's represent the price of the commodity. So supply curve over here is SS, which is showing in upward direction. So SS is showing in upward direction, that is from left to right. So when it is showing in upward direction, children, see over here, it has a positive slope, which shows us that supply is directly related with price and quantity supplied. So supply over here is directly related with what? Price and quantity supplied, supply curve. So this figure shows, according to the table we have plotted points, children. Again, see what was there in the table. For 10 rupees, 100 kgs was there. For 20, 200 was there. For 30, 300. For 40, 400 was there. And for 50 rupees, 500 kgs of product were demanded. So we plotted the points, and then it has been seen in a positive way, children, that this supply curve is moving in upward direction, SS curve. That means it shows direct relationship. Who shows? The supply curve. SS curve shows direct relationship between price and quantity demanded. That is SS curve. So this is all about law of supply. Question will be asked in exams that explain law of supply with its assumptions and exceptions, children. Now we have studied law of supply. Still again I will repeat that first will be your introduction for law of supply, then definition of supply, if you have meaning of supply, afterwards symbolical representation of supply, statement of supply, then diagram of table, explanation of that table, schedule, and then explanation of that schedule. So this was in law of supply. Now one by one, children, will see regarding assumptions of law of supply. Now assumptions and exceptions are also important, children. Assumptions of law of supply, the first point, that is constant cost of production. Now see, it is assumed that there is change in cost of production, and a change in cost of production will affect what? Profit of seller. So therefore less quantity will be supplied at less price, or say at the same price. So if there is a change in cost of production, a change in cost of production will affect the profits of the seller, and therefore less quantity will be supplied, children, at a lesser price. Then second, children, regarding constant technique of production. Now what is this constant technique of production? It is also assumed that technique of production does not change. Improved technique of production may lead to an increase in production. So this in turn may lead to increase in supply at the same price. So constant technique of production is what is there, that is assume that technique of production does not change. Improved technique of production will always lead to increase in production. This in turn may lead to increase in supply at the same price. Now children, techniques of production means what? Technology has been changed. That is, from manual work, say machineries have taken in for production, change in technology. So when improved production process is used, it will increase the production, it will increase the supply, depends upon the price. Now say if higher the production has been demanded in market, you have changed the technique, more production you have made, then that particular demand, if higher price it is getting in the market, it will be demanded. The supply will also be increased, price will be increased. So this is assumed, children, assumed that technique of production does not change. Improved technique of production will lead in increase in production and supply. So this will increase in supply at the same price. Now the third one is what? No change in weather conditions. Now what they have told, the third one, no change in weather conditions. That means climatic conditions should be equal. There should not be drought season, there should be no too much heavy rainfall, flood area should be not there, there should be proper things, winter should be proper, all the climates, whatever 3 climates are there, it should have proper. No change in weather conditions, no natural calamity should occur. Regarding what is we are studying? Assumptions. So this statement will be correct when supply will be higher, when the price is higher, when the weather conditions will be natural, normal. So when these things are normal, weather conditions, no natural calamity has been occurred like floods, earthquake, etc., this may decrease supply. So no change in weather conditions should be there, constant technique of production should be there, children, and the first one we have seen regarding assumption of supply, what it was? Regarding constant cost of production. So this 3 we studied in this chapter, that is constant cost of production, constant technique of production, and no change in weather condition. Why we are studying these assumptions of law? Because our statement of law tells us that supply is directly related with price. Higher the price, higher will be the supply, lower the price, lower will be the supply. So these things when we assume, that is constant cost of production, constant techniques of production, and no change in weather conditions, children will study only in this period 3 assumptions. If these things are conditions are favorable, then supply will be according to the law of supply statement. Next assumptions will study in next period, children. Till then, bye, thank you, meet in next period.